This is one of my favorite spots in Minto Brown Park. We're on a nifty bridge. And it really changes from season to season. Right now, of course, we're at the peak of summer after a late spring, so everything is just absolutely gorgeous. Hasn't dried off or anything yet. This is an area that used to be a pumpkin patch in the fall. They'd have pumpkins growing here by now. But they passed a resolution to stop doing farming in the park here because the federal government wanted this returned to flood control, and an open field like this won't control the water from the river, which is off to our left behind this hedge and on the other side of this reclamation plant where they create compost and things for the city. Anyway, I've always loved this area. There's just something about it. As you can see, maybe if you look along the road here, they've replanted some baby trees, of which maybe about a fourth have died off, but the rest seem to be taking. The idea is to return this whole area to its original state in exchange for like $800,000 or something the federal government gave them to keep it natural in perpetuity as a flood control area. So, it's a pretty big field, as you can see. Just gorgeous. And there's something about this. We're coming up on my favorite part of it, which is around the bend here. And I think I'm going to keep this going the whole time till I get there. It's a beautiful day and really exemplifies the feel that makes me, I don't know, there's a sense of a country road here, farmland, a simpler life, no danger. Something about this raised area with the hedge over here has a little air of protection somehow. But we're gonna continue all the way around the corner here, and I'll show you my favorite spot. I've taken it before in video on another camera, but this one has better optics and the lighting's better today instead of overcast. So if I have to move away from this place, because it has 9 months of horribly cloudy, depressing skies and 3 months of grandeur like this. So at least for 9 months of the year, I'm going to want to be away from it. But now, we're along the edge. My favorite spot is way up at the other end, so I'm going to pause for now and continue when we get up there. Okay, here we are at the end of the pathway where it curves around. You can see there's a beautiful view all the way around. I'm not looking through the viewfinder, so I hope you get something good. It looks like maybe some beehives out there. I'll check it out. Anyway, it's off to the right that I find most beautiful, but from the corner space where I can see all the way down to the other end, that's my spot. And so here we are, nearing my spot. Now if you come all the way out here, you can see the reclamation plant in the distance. I'll zoom in a little bit there, or try to. There we go. That's all the reclamation stuff. Now pulling back again, give you the panorama. Here's the path the way it looks there. Just give you a nice gradual look around so that I can remember this and share it perhaps the way it felt when I was here as I am now. Imagine that. Just a beautiful view. There's the trail we just came down. And there's the corner. Okay, where I was standing is kind of all grassy. I'll move over to this corner spot. you've seen off that way. Of course, this is the view if you look all the way down there. There's something about this. I mean, if this was my farm, if this was 1860 or something, 1880, and didn't have all these power wires and things, but boy, what a beautiful spot. I don't know, there's just something about it. Maybe it's because it's wide open and completely surrounded, and I can see everything that's coming on all sides. Maybe it's because it's got a lot of sunlight, but there's still some trees to go into. Maybe it's because it has beautiful clouds a lot. Maybe because of the way the roads are. Or maybe it's just the convergence of all kinds of things that lead me to feel really happy here, above all places in Salem, interestingly enough. Just gorgeous. That's it. Alright, now we're going to go from here, which is my favorite spot, down this road, which cuts through the fields here. And when they had pumpkin season, you'd actually have a little tiny pathway through here and pumpkins on either side. I've got a lot of photographs of that. It's pretty spectacular, actually, and just a pleasant place to walk. You can see all the trees they planted here for the reclamation, and most of these are taking, unlike the others that we saw, about a fourth of whom had died. These are doing all right. Planted some over here too, as you can see by the rows they've mowed in between. Clouds are coming up now, and I see those beehives still in the distance. We're going to walk out here and go through that area, and then it's even more like a country road. So my favorite place is right next to my second favorite place, and we'll see that in a minute. Okay, there's my favorite place in the background there. The sun's gone behind a cloud for a moment. But as you can see, we've followed that trail. Those are those beehives out there we were looking at, and now here's where the trail continues, and you can see it's right at the edge of the field here. Closes in on both sides. We're going to charge forward here down this little path. And when we turn the corner to the right, that is my second favorite place, which reminds me of a country road where I grew up, even though I grew up in the middle of the city and never saw a country road until I was much older. But somehow, when I was young and looking around, I always imagined that just beyond the trees was a country area like this one. Now, there's the big trail that goes off to one side, but over here, this one's usually more overgrown than this, so it looks a little more country-like than this, but still has this great feeling of walking down the winding country road. You see behind it just has a nice feel to it. Some trees here, and they've cleaned it up quite nicely, actually. I just imagine walking from one farm to another, or out to visit Grandma at her farm from our farm, or maybe the long walk into or back from town to pick up some supplies or see a friend. Again, in the 1800s. As you can see, it's just got that neat country road feeling. And in fact, we've gone down here on bicycles, and then it seemed kind of almost like an English countryside, which was pretty freaking cool. Anyway, this is right next to the river. Behind these bushes, about 20 feet away, is the Willamette River, which is like huge. It's something like the 5th largest volume of water in the west side of the Rockies. So when we get up a little farther, I'll give you a shot of that too. Now here's an interesting spot. I always enjoy this too. This wasn't the original trail here. They kind of opened it up because over here where you can see the river on the side, as promised, the original trail, which ran right along it, eroded. And so they closed it off, and everybody ignored their signs and continued to walk on it until they put up a fence in front of it, and then they continued to ignore their signs, and then they finally put up a fence all the way around it. And some people still continued to ignore their signs, but finally they had enough overgrowth go on that it's no longer practical to get onto that trail. So we've all adopted this little row of trees, but we don't get that long, long walk next to the river at this point. Now, clearly there's places to do that in the park. Oh, here's a little side point where people have gone up to look, so we'll give you a shot of the river here. There's the Willamette off to that side. Beautiful, slow-moving river at this point, and there it is off to the other. Very pretty. Okay, we're just coming out of that row of trees. And over here, there's the Do Not Enter sign. Again, people have ignored. You can see they go right around it. But here, just a little pathway that leads down to the river. So you actually have some access if you're inclined to take a big leap here. It goes down about 10 feet altogether before you get down to this level, but there it is. That's the Willamette. And the pathway down, which I will not take today. Instead, we'll head back out. We go down there all the time, Teresa and I. Actually, off to the left here, continuing along the trail, is the easiest way to get down. And it's also closer to the sandbars where we can pick up agate and jasper and all kinds of interesting rocks and even some fossils that we found there.